Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sarkos, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we'll be previewing all the action that will be coming your way from the Premier League for Match Day 2. As a matter of fact, action has already kicked off, and it did kick off last night as Nottingham Forest beat up against the newly promoted side Sheffield United by 2-1. Tim Taiwo Awoniyi was again on the score sheet like he did against Arsenal with a third-minute strike that put the hosts in the lead. But that lead was cancelled early on in the second half with Gus Hammer's brilliant strike there. So, when the action continued, it was Chris Wood off the bench that saved the day as he scored an 89th minute to win the game for Stephen Cooper's side as they recorded their first win of the season. Remember, they lost 2-1 in their first game of the season when they visited Arsenal last weekend. So, 3 points on board for Nottingham Forest, while Sheffield United continue to search for their first point after attaining promotion to the Premier League. Remember, in their first fixture, they lost by 1-0 against Crystal Palace. So, that is the game that kicked off Match Day 2 in the Premier League. Action continues today on Saturday with a number of games that we'll see Fulham host Brentford, among others. Now, with the major news for Match Day 2 begins at Luton Town, where they were slated to host Vincent Kompany's Burnley, but that game has been postponed. And the reason is simple. Luton Town Stadium is undergoing some major improvements, especially when it comes to accommodating the media and broadcasters there. So they are unable to host the game. It is reported, as according to the Daily Mail, that construction works are on schedule. Now, Luton Town had requested that Burnley host the first game, but Burnley declined for reasons best known to them. So we'll be waiting to hear from the Premier League when that game will be rescheduled to and be played. So, moving on, in the other action, like I said, Fulham host Brentford at Craven Cottage, while Liverpool will welcome Bournemouth. All those games kick off at 5 p.m. as well as Wolves against Brighton. So, at the Molineux Stadium, it will be the Wolves hosting De Zerbi's Brighton. In the other action, at 7:30 p.m., Tottenham Hotspurs will host Manchester United, while the late kickoff will see Manchester City host Newcastle. So, and on Sunday, we'll have Aston Villa host Everton, while West Ham will host Chelsea. And then action of Match Day 2 will be concluded on Monday night when Arsenal travel to Selhurst Park to play Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. So we'll be looking at that action and perhaps more. So we'll be kick things off at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, where they will host Manchester United. Now, Tottenham will expect to have their defender Christian Romero back in the squad, having been forced off through a head injury in the first half when they played Brentford. Remember, he scored in that game. He opened the scoring before being forced off to injury. It was a precautionary injury, especially with the head, but he will be expected to be back. Now, Tottenham will be without the likes of Rodrigo Bentancur, goalkeeper Fraser Forster, Brian Gill, and Ryan Sessegnon, as they are all still sidelined. On the other side of Manchester United, Erik ten Hag is expected to have Lisandro Martinez back in the squad despite him being withdrawn in the after the first half in their 1-0 victory against Wolves on Monday night, with Rafael Varane opening the scoring there. So we don't much very expect a very different lineup. Maybe some changes may be made here and there. But again, Manchester United will be without some figures in their squad, and the likes of Amadou Diallo, Tyler Malacia, while the striker from Atlanta, that is Rasmus Højlund, will also still be sidelined through injury, as well as Tom Hutton. So those won't be available for the action at the Tottenham Stadium. We are waiting to see all that Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. East African time. It's a big game that Tottenham have always managed to find a way to win in recent times. But remember, Tottenham are yet to beat Manchester United at their new stadium. It has been 2 wins for Manchester United and 2 draws in the recent fixtures. But do not forget that Tottenham in 2020 did beat up against Manchester United by 6-1. Well, we hope all that is in the past. Looking at the way Tottenham applied themselves as well as Manchester United on the other side, we expect goals to go in on either side. Who will win that? That is between you and me. Well, if you have a prediction, do not forget to drop it in the comment section. My prediction, I think I'll go for a draw. A goal scoring draw. But let's see how it all spans out. But that will be the action from the Tottenham Hotspur London Stadium. So, but Manchester United will need to improve on their play, their athleticism. They will need to be a bit faster. I think Christian Eriksen should start the game, especially knowing that he will be playing against his former club where he spent most of his prime playing time in his career at Tottenham. I think he should be able to start that game. He gives Manchester United a lot going forward than he gives them, although defensively, I think, but he helps them with breaking, with those, key passes, forward passes through to the wingers, to the strikers, and we expect Rashford to be sharper if Manchester United are to win this game. We expect Casemiro to be solid in midfield, whoever he is partnered with. It could be Scott McTominay, it could be Mason Mount, but we are waiting to see. Ideally, I do not think it should be Mason Mount, but it's not my decision to make. So whoever he will be partnered with in that midfield, we are waiting to see what the result will be. On the other side, Manchester United will have to be worried of James Maddison, Son, some of the key players for Tottenham there. So do not miss out on that action as at the London Stadium at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London at 7:30. Moving on, the other key action of Saturday will have Manchester City host Newcastle. Remember, Newcastle were the biggest winners of match day 1 with a 5-1 scoreline against Aston Villa. There, while Manchester City beat up against Burnley by 3-0 when they visited Vincent Kompany on Friday night on match day 1. So, we expect a strong Manchester City side, but they will be without their captain, Kevin De Bruyne, who is sidelined with a hamstring injury. In fact, he underwent surgery and will be out for up to 3 to 4 months or even more, depending on how his road to recovery goes. It is feared that they will be without John Stones, while Ruben Diaz is a doubt. He did miss their 5-4 penalty victory against Sevilla in the UEFA Super Cup. But we still expect a strong Manchester City side, as you would expect on any day. It is feared that Bernardo Silva will miss that game as well, but still that doesn't make their options any shorter. They have a Palmer in there. They do have Phil Foden in there, who is a very potent player that can fit in there. In fact, he had a good game against Sevilla. So we wait for that action at the Etihad Stadium. On the other side, Newcastle, as they travel, they will be without Joe Willock as a main key player that is sidelined, but all the others are okay. So Ed Howe's side come in good faith. They come with a lot of confidence after that 5-1 victory, but they do come to play a side that they've not beaten in a long while, especially when they are hosting them. Last season, it was a 3-3 draw when Newcastle hosted the fixture, while Manchester City beat them by 2-0 when they hosted them at the Etihad Stadium. So, in their past 14 meetings, Newcastle haven't won any, with Manchester City scoring 48 goals and conceding just 7 at when Manchester City is hosting the fixture. So that it's often put, everybody is trying to chase Manchester City, everybody is trying to be like Manchester City. They set the tone. So Erling Haaland will have to be sharp, as well as all Ederson Moraes in goal, because Newcastle come with the threat of Alexander Isak, Callum Wilson, the threat of Sandro Tonali, the threat of Jolinton from midfield there, and more. So Manchester City will also have to be on top of their game. The likes of Kyle Walker, the likes of Manuela Kanji, the likes of Emerick Laporte, if he's to play in that centre back, or Josh Guardiola there, the new centre back that was recruited from RB Leipzig. So we expect a very good match between the two sides. I think it will be open-ended and attacking, but I still think that Manchester City will edge that one. They will dominate play. They will dominate possession as we expect them. We know their style, but Newcastle will push them, will try, that high press, but they should be worried that if they fail at that high press, Manchester City can be quick and fast moving forward or transitioning from their side onto the opponent side, and Erling Haaland can find the back of the net at any opportunity given. So let's and wait for my prediction there. I think Manchester City will win it by 2-1. What is your prediction? What is your prediction? So let's wait and see how Pep Guardiola and Ed Howe line up their two sides for the top, for what will be a fixture that may determine who will end up at the top of the table by the end of match day 2. Currently, it's Newcastle up on the summit of the Premier League. So, interesting action there. Kick-off at 10 p.m. That will be the kickoff time. So, look out for that action. Moving on, in the other earlier fixture that will be played at 5 p.m. Like I said, Liverpool host Bournemouth, a side we expect Liverpool to beat up against, but you never know which side of Liverpool may turn up. Whereas they have very potent players in Luis Diaz, Mo Salah, Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo. In midfield, you have Szoboszlai, McAllister, and then at the back line of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, maybe Joel Matip in there, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson on the flanks, with Alisson, Ramsey Baker in goal, Diego Jota, a key mention in there. We expect them to beat up against Bournemouth, but you never know which Liverpool side may turn out to come. They may come a bit weaker or looking weaker, but again, Bournemouth remain the weaker side under their new manager, Andoni Ariola there. So remember, they drew 1-1 in their first game against West Ham, as well as Liverpool drawing 1-1 in their first game against Chelsea there. So that will be the action from Anfield. Jurgen Klopp will have to tweak his tactics here and there to get the best out of his side, especially when it comes to dominating midfield. Anything can happen on a good day for Bournemouth, and the likes of Dominic Solanke can hurt you. They've also signed the US international Tyler Adams, that was a target for Chelsea, but when that deal collapsed, Bournemouth went to Leeds and signed the player. So it's a done deal, although it is reported that he has an injury, so he won't be in action for Bournemouth there. So watch out for that game too, as it promises to be an entertaining game. Kickoff will be at 5 p.m. The other kickoff at 5 p.m. will be Fulham against Brentford. Now this is another tight game. Fulham won their opening day game as they beat up against Everton by goal to nil away, while Brentford on the other side drew 2-2 when they hosted Tottenham. So expect a tight game between the two sides. Do not be surprised if it ends in a draw, but remember, Fulham still find themselves in the mix of the Alexander Mitrovic, who wants a move to Saudi Arabia there. So a lot of teams have expressed interest in Alexander Mitrovic from Saudi Arabia, and he seems to be open to the move. So he's indicated that he may want to move. While Brentford will still be without the striker Ivan Toney, who is serving an 8-month suspension or ban from football for breaching betting rules. He admitted to breaching betting rules, and he was suspended for 8 months, including a fine of £50,000 that he had to pay. Now, remember, uh, on the other side of Manchester City, it is reported that Lucas Paqueta's pursuit for Pep Guardiola's side is off because Lucas Paqueta is also being investigated for similar charges. So we await to hear more on when that progresses. But for the action between Fulham and Brentford, do not be surprised if it is a scoring draw or if Fulham nick that one. Then Wolves host Brighton. Brighton had a bright start to the season, 4-1 winners against Luton Town, but that is a result we all expected, if not even with a bigger scoring, but that's the margin you would expect. But remember, Brighton have been pushed a lot for their best players, including Moises Caicedo, who has left for Chelsea, including McAllister, who has left for Liverpool. It is reported that the forward Ferguson is being considered by Tottenham, but they have slapped a 120 million price tag on that one because they do not want any more players leaving their team. So they will have the likes of Bitoma, Solimatch there to lead their attacks. So you expect a good game again from Brighton on any day. Pavian Estupiñán, very, very brilliant player in there. So Solimatch, very brilliant player. They can hurt you on any day. So we'll wait to see the action. But remember, Wolves also made a statement despite losing by a goal to nil against Manchester United. I thought they were a very brilliant side on Monday night, especially players like Mario Lemina, Matheus Cunha. They were very, very brilliant. Nelson Semedo, they were very good on the night, while Jose Sa cannot be underestimated in goal for the Wolves. So it will be another interesting fixture to look out for as Gary O'Neill hosts his first game of the season. Remember, referees from that tie against Manchester United have been suspended or have not been involved in match day 2 because they failed to give an obvious penalty to Wolves late on in the game when Andre Onana clattered in some Wolves players there as they floated in a course for when they're looking for an equalizer. So you won't see Stephen Hooper officiating any game this weekend if you do follow referees or match officials in the Premier League. So that action is also there at the Molineux Stadium, one to look out for. So that will be the action for Saturday. We'll move on to Sunday, where Aston Villa host Everton at Villa Park. Remember, Aston Villa lost their first game 5-1 to Newcastle, while Everton also lost their first game by goal to nil against Fulham. Now, Aston Villa do have some injury challenges, but they have recruited Nicole Zaniolo on a season-long loan with an option to buy there. So Nicole Zaniolo is one of those very good players, left-footed players, but he has suffered a number of injuries over the years, including an ACL that many players seem to be suffering from at the start of this season. Some of those including Thibaut Courtois at Real Madrid. You had Eder Militao suffering the same injury, and back in the Premier League, you had Jurriën Timber suffer the same injury and ACL. Yeah. So let's wait and see the action between those two sides. but it promises to be an interesting game in the city of Birmingham. But the main game on Sunday will be at the London Stadium as West Ham United host Chelsea. Now, Chelsea have made major additions to their squad since their last game in Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia for £115 million and £58 million from Brighton and Southampton respectively. So, do not be surprised if you see a midfield trio of Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Romeo Lavia. It will be a pointed one. Not that we expect it to, tick there and then, because it is fresh. The two players will be playing with amongst each other for the very first time. But those are major recruitments for Chelsea. But they will also be without their captain, Reece James, who suffered the hamstring injury in training. He had just returned back from injury again. But whatever Chelsea do this season, it will be very key for them to retain Ben Chilwell at the left fullback, or attacking wing back there, and Reece James on the right side if they are to do major things this season, because those are very key players, very critical players moving forward. Robert Sanchez will be expected to be in goal, while Chelsea continue to look around for goalkeeping options, having let go of Edward Mendy and subsequently Kepa Arrizabalaga, who has joined Real Madrid on a season-long loan. So let's wait and see the lineup they do put up there on Sunday. But West Ham have also made additions to their squad, including Edson Alvarez from Ajax, as well as James Ward-Prowse, the exciting midfielder from Southampton, for about £30 million. So big signings for West Ham, who continue to pursue Ajax's Mohamed Kudus. They want to sign him. It is reported that an agreement on personal terms is very close, while the two clubs remain in negotiations for the player. West Ham also want to improve their their forward line, having let go of Skamaka, who has since joined Atlanta. So they're considering that maybe they can sign Orlin Balogun from Arsenal, who is of interest to Chelsea as well as Monaco and Inter Milan, although Inter Milan have cooled their interest in the player. So both sides are making major additions to their squads. It will be an entertaining game, a London derby of some sort there in West London. So big game on Sunday as Mauricio Pochettino continues to search for his first victory as Chelsea manager, while David Moyes will want to start the season much better than he did the previous one that saw them battling relegation at the tail end of it. So major action there. So Lucas Paqueta, like I mentioned, is being investigated for breach of betting rules, and his move to Manchester City is very much in jeopardy. But that doesn't mean he won't feature Gerard Bowen there, Thomas Suchek, some of the key players for the West Ham side, not forgetting Michael Antonio leading that forward line. So let's expect good action there. The West Ham still struggle in defense. They've wanted to sign Harry Maguire from Manchester United and had agreed a £30 million deal for the English defender, but that deal is off because the two parties could not agree to personal terms when it came to the player's side there. So they are still in the market in search for a defender, and it is reported that they are interested in former Arsenal defender Mavropanos, who is at Stuttgart. So watch out for that news as well. Now, for the Monday action of Arsenal up against Crystal Palace, we will be reviewing that game at a much later moment in time and see how things go. But that is all the action you should expect between today, Saturday, and Sunday from the Premier League. Now, moving on, let's just to update you on what's happening in La Liga. There were two games played last night. Mallorca lost by goal to nil against Villarreal, while Valencia beat up against Las Palmas by goal to nil. In the action that will be coming to you This Saturday will be Real Sociedad will play against Celta Vigo, while Almeria hosts Real Madrid, who won 2-0 against Atletico Bilbao in the opening fixture of the season. Osasuna hosts at Atletico Bilbao, while on Sunday, Girona play Getafe. Barcelona will play Cadiz at home, that is at the Camp Nou, and Real Betis will host Atletico Madrid. And on Monday evening, Alves will play Sevilla, while Granada will host Rayo Vallecano. So that will be some of the action from the from Spanish La Liga this weekend. So the key games, 6:30 is the kickoff for Real Madrid, while Barcelona's kickoff time will be 6:30 on Sunday as well. Remember, Madrid play on Saturday, so do not miss that action. That midfield of Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Jude Bellingham. Interesting to watch as how that midfield can go, especially knowing the ambitions that Real Madrid do have. Do not forget Modric is still around, Toni Kroos is still around, but that is the midfield trio that started in the previous game. They suffered major injuries in Eder Militao and Thibaut Courtois, but Carlo Ancelotti was saying that they won't be looking to sign any defenders, as they do already have a number of figures in their squad, including Nacho. They have Alaba, David Alaba there. They do have Antonio Rudiger to offer backup, and it was indeed Antonio Rudiger who came on after Militao suffered that horrific injury. So let's wait for that big action as Real Madrid search for their second victory, while Barcelona will searching for their first victory, having drawn 0-0 against Getafe in their opening fixture. So thank you for watching, guys, and see you next time. Do not forget to comment, like, and share, and invite others to subscribe. See you next time.